In this video, we're going to be looking at addition and subtraction of polynomials. And it gives us a definition of like terms. Like terms have the same variables, and the corresponding variables have the same powers. And addition and subtraction of polynomials combine terms by adding or subtracting the coefficients of like terms. In 1, it says simplify each expression. Write your final answer in descending order. In A, we have negative 9x squared plus 4x minus 3 plus 7x squared minus 6x plus 9. And it wants us to have our final answer in descending order. So what I'm going to do first is group all of my like terms in descending order. So I have negative 9x squared, and then I have plus 7x squared, and 4x, so plus 4x minus 6x, and minus 3 plus 9. So my terms that have two factors of x are first, and then my two terms that have one factor of x, and then my two terms that have zero factors of x. So now to combine our like terms, we're going to add or subtract their coefficient. So for the terms that have x squared in them, we have negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2x squared. And then we have plus 4x minus 6x. 4 minus 6 is negative 2x. And then we have negative 3 plus 9 is plus 6. In B, we have 3/4 x squared plus 1/6 x minus 1/2 plus 1/4 x squared minus 2/3 x. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is group them together. And I'm going to do it in descending order. Plus 1/4 x squared. And then I have plus 1/6 x minus 2/3 x and minus 1/2. So now we have fractions to deal with. So remember, to add and subtract fractions, we're going to need common denominators, and it's usually best to have the least common denominator. So we have 3/4 x squared plus 1/4 x squared. We already have a common denominator of 4, and 3/4 plus 1/4 is equal to 1. So we have x squared. And for 1/6 x minus 2/3 x, we need a common denominator. So I'm going to make my common denominator be 6. So I have 1/6 x. And in order for 2/3 to have a denominator of 6, and we had a minus sign, we'd have to multiply our fraction by 2 over 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So we have negative 4/6 x minus 1/2. And this is equal to x squared. And now I have positive 1/6 minus 4/6 is minus 3/6. And 3/6 can be simplified to 1/2. So I have minus 1/2 x minus 1/2. In C, we have negative 6x squared plus 4xy minus y squared minus 2x squared minus 3y squared minus 7xy. So when you have a polynomial that has two variables in it, when you write it in descending order, we're going to write our x squared terms first, and then our xy terms, and then our y squared terms. So I'm going to group them together. And when you have a minus sign, you need to make sure to distribute this negative to each term. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is rewrite this whole thing and distribute the negative. So I have negative x squared plus 4xy minus y squared minus 2x squared plus 3y squared plus 7xy. So now that we've distributed our negative, let's group them together with our like terms. So we have negative 6x squared minus 2x squared plus 4xy plus 7xy. And we have minus y squared and plus 3y squared. And we have, for our x squared terms, we have negative 6 minus 2, so we have negative 8x squared. And then for our xy terms, we have 4 plus 7 is positive 11x xy. And for our y squared terms, we have negative 1 plus 3 is equal to plus 2y squared. In D, we have 16x minus 5x squared plus 4x cubed plus 8 minus 2 times x squared plus 7x. So the first thing we're going to want to do in this problem is distribute our negative 2 through the parentheses. So I'm going to have 16x minus 5x squared plus 4x cubed plus 8. And now I have negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. And negative 2 times 7x is negative 14x. And now I want to write them in descending order and group my like terms. So I have 4x cubed minus 5x squared minus 2x squared plus 16x minus 14x plus 8. And this is equal to 4x cubed. Now I have negative 5x squared minus 2x squared is equal to negative 7x squared. And I have 16x minus 14x is plus 2x plus 8. And 2, it wants us to write the expression for the phrase subtract A from B. So we want to take A away from B. So we're going to have B minus A. And now it wants us to subtract 8x squared plus 2x minus 4 from 15x squared minus 4x minus 3. So I'm going to write that as 15x squared minus 4x minus 3 minus 8x squared plus 2x minus 4. You have to remember when you're writing out the subtraction, it's important to have the parentheses because this negative sign is going to get distributed to each term in the parentheses. So now this is equal to 15x squared minus 4x minus 3. And now I'm going to distribute my negative. So I have minus 8x squared minus 2x plus 4. And now I'm going to group my like terms. So I have 15x squared minus 8x squared minus 4x minus 2x minus 3 and plus 4. So we have 15x squared minus 8x squared is 7x squared. Negative 4x minus 2x is negative 6x. And negative 3 plus 4 gives us plus 1. And that's our video on addition and subtraction of polynomials.